One thing that has always kept the attention of fans in the Halo community is how seemingly around every corner of the ever-expanding Halo universe, there are always new secrets and hidden gems littered throughout the history of these games. Halo is a game franchise that is known for some Easter eggs only being discovered sometimes years after a game initially released, but very rarely is there a case where one Easter egg that ended up getting removed out of the retail build of the game puzzled members of the Halo community for years. For this video, we teamed up with the Halo YouTuber and modder Vengeful Vadim, who helped us with the notes on this video. There's a link to his channel in the description. Seriously, he's super underrated, but you'll see why you might want to keep up with Vengeful's channel a little later on in this video. When Halo initially released in 2001, I don't think anyone fully anticipated how absolutely massive the game would end up becoming. Bungie was made up of a small team of developers and freelancers who focused on making a game that not only would be the starting point for one of the most beloved gaming universes, but also a game that was fun and hid personality behind every corner. But with Halo blowing up after its release, in literally no time there were millions of people around the world playing, the industry was shifting and people were packing up their TVs and Xboxes just to go over to their friends' houses to play all night. Fans would get to experience Halo for the first time and would return time after time again to leave no stone uncovered within the game. A lot of fun Easter eggs and secrets that Bungie had hid in the game were quickly uncovered and even talked about online, and the community around Halo was rapidly growing. The demand to be able to play Halo online together was heard by Microsoft, and Microsoft even decided to greenlight a port of Halo Combat Evolved to the PC, which was actually ported by Gearbox Studios for a release in 2003. This was all happening while Bungie was working away on Halo 2. But I don't think anyone at Microsoft or Gearbox were expecting the strange, mysterious image that would be uncovered in the Halo game files to start one of the largest and shortest-lived investigations that the Halo community has seen to date. On November 21st, 2003, just a couple months after the Gearbox PC port of Halo released, a user on the Bungie Halo forums by the name of Former Side made a post alleging he may have discovered the existence of an unknown and undiscovered Halo Easter egg. I happen to be a Halo hacker, don't ask me anything about this, who makes texture mods. I was sifting through the bitmaps used in boarding action a minute ago, and I noticed a bitmap which contains several decals used around the ships also has a photograph of a woman. I guess she must be the wife, relative, or girlfriend of one of the employees at Bungie or something, but since I've never seen anything mentioned about this on Halo Bungie Online, and I know that if it's been found, it's on the site, I was just wondering if anyone knew about this. I would think boarding action had been all searched out, but maybe there's something on that level that no one knows about. Then again, this is from Halo PC, so it could have been the work of one of the Gearbox guys. Dunno. I did a search before I posted this and didn't find anything, so please don't flame me. She's pretty good looking, by the way. This was actually a really interesting discovery, and it makes sense why so many people over the next few hours would jump into this thread taking interest in this mysterious post. Now, at this time, the user didn't show any evidence, just mentioned that in the files he discovered something. A few people who were online that evening responded relatively quickly, and one person speculated as to whether or not the mystery image could be a connection to the Meg Easter egg in Halo Combat Evolved, which was a secret room in Pillar of Autumn that was put in by lead designer Jamie Griesemer as a cool way to show affection to his girlfriend. That was actually a well-kept secret until Griesemer started posting clues and hints teasing the community of the Easter egg's existence, until it was finally discovered. Now, the idea of a Meg 2 Easter egg was definitely exciting, as people loved the hints and Easter egg scavenger hunt that first Meg Easter egg had. Another user shortly after would respond asking if Former Side could post a picture, and Former Side responded, "I'm not sure if I should do that without an admin okaying it. After all, I did rip the bitmaps out from the game. I'm not sure if this picture was meant to be found. If an admin on these forums okays it though, I can put it up. They probably know more about the legality of that than I do." While waiting for a forum mod to okay permission to post his findings, the discussion did continue on, and it got a little bit interesting. He brought up the possibility of it being an Easter egg no one has found on the level boarding action, but did acknowledge it could be like other game files that have been discovered that were in pre-built versions of the game. A Halo community member mod on the forums gave Formerside permission to post the images, as it's just something that was directly in the game, and it was actually one of those few moments where someone makes a claim like a hidden Easter egg or something a little bit creepy found in a game, and then OP goes ahead and actually delivered. This was the image that Formerside had posted when scrolling through the bitmaps of Halo Combat Evolved PC. And as you can see, it's just kind of interwoven with the other textures that appear on this level. But when you isolate the image separately and adjust the resolution, you can see the picture a little bit more clearly. Now, what's really interesting is if you actually go through the game files, there are definitely so many different things that you can unpack. All the effects, decals, skins, everything is represented in these bitmap files, and to find an image like this actually existing within a single file is a very unique oddity when you're going through the list of everything that is in this game. Now, right away, people in the community quickly realized that the image of the woman was not the same woman who had the secret Meg Easter egg, which meant it had to be in the files for something else, right? Could it have been something added in by a Gearbox employee? With this image existing in the boarding action files, players revisited the map on both the Xbox and the PC, but no secret areas were ever found. Another user chimed in that it most likely had to be a Gearbox employee who had added it, because there wouldn't be any way that nobody had discovered this in the original Halo Combat Evolved all these years later, right? Other users suggested that perhaps it could be found outside of the map, maybe on top of one of the ships, and this search for this Easter egg blew up overnight. But just like that, a Bungie employee who actually knew information on the topic would respond to the thread pretty much immediately, putting a halt to the search for this Easter egg. The following morning, after the Easter egg was discovered, Butcher from Bungie responded saying, "Wow, that's crazy. I really thought we had taken that bitmap out. Yikes." That woman is, I believe, the girlfriend of the artist who originally worked on boarding action. After he moved on from Bungie, we found a picture of her in the level, which left us rather nonplussed. We took her out of the level, but apparently she lives on as a bitmap in the resource files. Nice find. And just like that, the search pretty much ended. It was really interesting, though, to get a confirmation of the existence and straight up acknowledgement that it was something that was in the game and removed. But it also confirmed that the bitmap file likely existed all the way back during the retail version of the game too, meaning that after the game had been out for nearly 2 years, no one had actually run Halo CE through a compiler and found that bitmap file just yet, which would be done later on, which did confirm the fact that the file was in fact in both versions of the game. This short-lived mystery of the boarding action woman was over. The original user to discover it, Formerside, would respond to Butcher, "Thanks, it's pretty cool to find something in Halo no one else knew about. I wish it existed in-game, but I'm content with having stumbled upon something no one else knew was there." What an interesting way to gain immortality. I mean, once Bungie conquers the world, this woman will in essence be a part of the core foundations of the ruling empire forever. Granted, she's like a particle of a pillar for the old palace that was destroyed to make room for a new land room, but it's still something. This was something I found really ironic reading through this archive, as in a way, Formerside discovering this Easter egg also in a sense established his own immortality in the history of Halo's secret content and legacy. We wanted to reach out to him to see if we could interview him about his initial days finding it. We couldn't find a way to contact him 17 years later. There would be a few discussions here and there about the image that would pop up over the years, but as time progressed, the Easter egg and significance mostly became forgotten to time. But then all of a sudden, our story picks up again in July 2020, nearly 17 years after this search initially started. A user on the website Obscure Gamers had managed to purchase a dev kit giving him access to a build of Halo Combat Evolved on the Xbox, dating back to August 2001, just a few months prior to the release of the game. The build would be released online, and a ton of members in the modding community jumped at the opportunity to play through the early build of the game. Now, our boy Vengeful Vadim managed to get the version of the game working and went all in, breaking down all the differences between the retail version of the game and this pre-released version that was now released. And matter of fact, when we reached out to him, he was super helpful in answering a ton of questions about all of this. And honestly, if you're interested in pre-release content for Halo, we're going to have one of his videos on our end cards at the end of this video. So if more stuff from the pre-release build is interesting to you, you should go check it out. There's some crazy stuff that almost made it into the final cut of the game. Now, along the way, there were so many things in the beta version of the game that a lot of people noticed right away, like flamethrowers were on the Maw, there were banshees on Silent Cartographer, different looking geometry in some places, and this was something that took up much of the community's time looking into this build that finally was in the hands of the Halo community. But one Halo fan and modder, Alien7355, had somehow managed to remember the forgotten Easter egg talks from all the way back in the day and decided to take a look for himself to see if maybe perhaps he could find something or some clues as to what this Easter egg was originally. And sure enough, he actually discovered it. With some reverse engineering, being able to take the map files for boarding action and loading them into a program called Spark, he was able to find extra geometry on boarding action, which led him to the location of this long sought after Easter egg. He reached out to Vengeful Vadim, one of his good buddies, and finally, after all of these years, Vadim went ahead and posted the Easter egg on his Twitter account, cracking this 20-year-old Easter egg for the first time ever. And it's super interesting because sure enough, if you load up on boarding action in this older build of the game, drop off this platform that is different from the final version and, not break your legs in the process, you can walk through a wall and discover this secret shrine that Bungie had removed 20 years ago from the game. And while we don't have much details as to the specific freelance artist and who his girlfriend at the time was, the fact that this Easter egg still to this day exists in the game files and we now are able to experience it in how it was originally included in that pre-build of the game is definitely a testament to the legacy that Halo has to this day, that players are still willing and interested to go back to these old games and look for things that maybe have gone missing over the years, or put together the pieces on mysteries that we still don't know all the answers to all these years later. And of course, a huge thank you to Vengeful Vadim and Alien for the help with this video. Alien's been working on a cool Xbox LAN mod for up to 16 players co-op campaign in Halo CE. If you want to message him and see about testing it, here's his Discord username. You can check out Vengeful Vadim's beta video we talked about a little earlier by clicking on the screen on the end card, or you can watch this video on the biggest unsolved mysteries we can't solve that Luke and I worked on last week. That was really fun to work on.